Hey! It's Enrico Pallazzo!
Utah, give me 2.
Pallazzo!
Utah, give me 2.
What's up, everybody? Welcome in. Pallazzo Podcast, 2 L's, 2 Z's. Welcome to the first installment of the Fab, as you guys can see up here in the upper left corner, Faab-Ulous Waiver Wire Chat Show. Get your questions answered. Get ready for the week ahead. Britton, happy Sunday, my friend. I see that we're both wearing orange. You a little bit more of a Tennessee Vol orange than an Orioles orange, but nonetheless, how are you?
I got to show my orange today, and you know why, Mike V? Tennessee Volunteers are in the Elite Eight. They're going up against number 1 seed University of Houston. I know we're going to lose. All right. I know that. I know that's what's going to happen. But hope springs eternal. Shout out Alexander Pope. So we'll see. Plus, I looked at the Vegas line, and Houston's only a 2.5 point favorite. I'm like,
Yeah.
Vegas generally knows what they're doing, so that's a pretty close game. So we're keeping our fingers crossed on that. But with no more basketball talk. Nobody wants to talk about that because I watched baseball all day yesterday, Mike V. How about you? It was a great day.
My son had a birthday party to go to yesterday, but for the most part, I watched baseball all day, which was great. So looking forward to today's games. I'm hoping that the O's can pull out another win. We had a rough game on Friday, but pulled our heads out of our butts on Saturday with the hits. So I'm hoping we can get it going again for my Orioles in the final game of the series against the Blue Jays.
Yeah, what do you think about the Blue Jays? It seems kind of starting off a little slow. Jose Barrios got lit up.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Scherzer went on the IL yesterday. I didn't know this, Britton, and I'm a fitness guy, but I didn't know that a thumb injury could directly affect your lat, which is crazy to me. That's what Scherzer said. So
it's all
he
connected.
does not. Yeah, he does not feel good. He's going to hit the 15-day IL injury he was dealing with earlier on in the season, or in the spring training, I mean. So he's gonna miss at least the next 15 games, if not longer. So, Britton,
he was complaining about that thumb in spring too. This is why we always say don't draft injured players. Just don't do it.
Yeah, Britton, if you have Max Scherzer, are you okay with cutting him?
Absolutely.
There you go.
Look at his track record. But Scherzer's been on other teams like for years. He's went to the Mets. He's been bouncing around, and he misses in the past 3 years. Look at his 2024. He has significant injuries.
Yep.
Time after time after time, and it's just one of those things. He's doing his best. He's still got that fire. He's a fiery guy, a competitive guy. But he's like the car at the end of Blues Brothers. They hit the Cook County Assessor's office. Boom. That's Max Scherzer right now.
Yeah, he's always been coined as a quote-unquote bulldog. So trying to toughen it out. I'm not really sure how he's going to get over that, especially with the age, because the way he likes to throw, I believe it's his cutter. I can't remember what pitch it was, but he uses his thumb a lot with that movement. So it's probably an injury that he's going to be dealing with all season. I am also fine with cutting him, but
go pick up Sean Burke.
There you go.
I guess we're starting off a little. Yeah, starting off a little early. I know we're Rockies fans, obviously. No, you would probably rank Baltimore number 1, maybe, I guess. Especially now because they're hot, Mr. O's bandwagon over there, over there, you know what I'm saying? I'm just kidding. But I'm kind of becoming a White Sox fan. I have my White Sox John Danks jersey. I was watching the White Sox play yesterday when Cannon was on the mound. He did pretty well. He did pretty good. And I saw Sean Burke the other day. Also looked really good. Opening day starter, 6-inning pitch, 0 ERA, only 3 Ks. But here's the best part: 0 walks.
Yeah,
he pounds the zone. I love it. He's talented. He had a late start last year. Sean Burke of the Chicago White Sox, like 19 innings, like under 2 ERA, not a huge sample size, but this guy's in the rotation and he's going to play. And I think he's talented. Did you get a chance to take a look at Burke for the White Sox?
I did, and I did pick him up in a couple of leagues that we have. We can add up until the end of this week. So if anybody who wasn't added or dropped or anything else like that, you could pick these guys up. So I do have 1 or 2 shares of Burke as a what the hell flyer.
Yeah, deep league, sure.
Yeah, deep league. That's what I'm in. So we'll see how it goes. But Britton, a lot to get to. I want to give a shout out to everybody in the live chat: Pistol, Joe, Chris, Frank, Govier's in the live chat. Looks like we got B Henny in the house.
What up, dudes?
We're going to get to all your questions real quick. I do want to go over a couple things real quick with everybody. In terms of if you're new to the show, if you haven't done so already, make sure you like and subscribe to the Pallazzo Podcast YouTube channel. Make sure you follow all the crew. You guys know all the social media stuff. But to give you that kind of an idea of a layout of how today's going to go, we'll obviously get to your questions. We'll get to the week ahead, some waiver wire targets that Britton and I are interested in. Some 2-start SP streams, lot to get to and try to jam-packed hour here. But real quick, I want to go over the schedule for next week. And this is important if you play in weekly lineups because volume is key here. There are 2 teams that have 7 games next week. That's Cincinnati and Milwaukee. Everybody else has 6 games, and there's nobody who has 5 games this week. The top 5 hitter matchups next week are Minnesota, Arizona, Boston, St. Louis, and Toronto. And the bottom 5 hitter matchups are the Dodgers, the Nats, the Phillies, the Astros, and the Rays. So something to keep in mind. Again, your studs for the Dodgers and the Phillies and the Astros, you're starting them. But if you're tinkering between who to start in your util spot or whatever it may be, something to take into consideration as well. Britton, without further ado, let's get into some questions here for everybody. And looks like Frank was early.
Yeah, they're coming in fast and strong. That's what she said. So I appreciate everybody being here. That's awesome.
Yeah, Frank says, my best to Michael Govier and his family. Thank you, Frank. Appreciate that, brother. Frank also wants us to rank these potential closer wannabes between Luke Jackson, Emilio Pagan, and Tyler Holton of Detroit. Smart fab percentage bid on any of them. What do you think here, Britton?
In the order you have them there, Frank, Luke Jackson got blown up in his first save a chance for Texas. Chris Martin got the save yesterday, but Luke Jackson got the save the day before that. So 3 games, Luke Jackson blew a save, got a save, then Chris Martin got a save. So I think Chris Martin and Luke Jackson are going to be in the mix getting saves for each other. So I would like I'll do 5% on Luke Jackson. Emilio Pagan. I don't like that whole Cincinnati closer situation. Alexis Diaz is coming back at some point. Look, I'll do $1 on Pagan and Tyler Horton $1 too. I think Bo Brisky is the Tigers closer, and I know he got beat by the Dodgers. It was the Dodgers. I think Bo Brisky also got saves last year in the postseason. I think he's the guy. They optioned Jason Foley. Man, he pissed somebody off. I don't know who it was, but he did something to somebody, and now he's in the minors. That's like the ultimate punishment if you're a Major League Baseball player, like non-injury. Like, you know, he saved 20-something games last year, but he'd said something to somebody, and now he's riding the bus in the minor leagues. But that's another story. So that's how I would rank him. But we are talking about other closers too, like. Look for Seth Halverson for the Colorado Rockies. He got a save. He's going to be their closer. And I know it's the Rockies. Don't worry about it. Daniel Bard got 40 saves one year. And Seth Halverson is a hell of a lot more talented than Daniel Bard ever was. And also, University of Tennessee, go Vols, Seth Halverson. Go see if he's available. He would be up there. And I got another couple saves guys too, but we can get to that later if you want to keep hitting the questions.
Yeah, and I'm going to agree with you on this question here with Frank. I'm going to take a left turn here. I don't like any of these guys, to be 100% honest. If you're really desperate for saves, then yeah. But, I mean, these guys, for me, I could see a couple of more blowups from Luke Jackson. Emilio Pagan is a fly ball pitcher, which I want nothing to do with in Great American Ballpark in that short field there in Cincinnati. And Tyler Holton, again, I don't know how long the leash is going to be risky, but I don't know if it's one guy for any of these bullpens. So if you're really, really desperate in a really, really deep league, I'm putting $1 on probably all of them. But I don't have any interest. That's my take. I would much rather have Halverson, like Britton had mentioned. Bo Brisky, I would much rather have him. I would even take a speculative flyer on guys like Santillan, Barlow, or Rogers in Cincinnati before I picked up Pagan. So that's just my take, though.
Yeah, and look and see if Jose Alvarado is available. I'd take him over all those guys.
Yep.
Also, two sleeper closers I really like are Mason Montgomery for the Rays, we talked about, and also Jordan Leisure of the White Sox, Chicago
Great.
White Sox. I watched Clevenger come in the game in the 8th. By the way, Mike Clevenger for the Chicago White Sox looks like a cracked out prostitute. That's what he looks like. He looks like the morning shift of the Snatch Strip Club in Cleveland, Ohio. He looks awful. He is not going to be their closer. And I think the White Sox, I know Michael Govier's got that bet with Uncle Ted. I think the White Sox are kind of frisky. I kind of like Davis Martin's pitching today. I kind of like him. So I think somebody's going to get 20 saves, and I think it's going to be Jordan Leisure. And yes, the last name is Leisure, like Leisure Suit Larry.
Mm-hmm.
But after Clevenger came in and did all these little goofball mechanics, and he promptly, gave up a run, a walk, and everything else. Leisure came in after him and shut it down. Unfortunately, the White Sox lost that game. Kenley got his first save. Yeah. But, I think Jordan Leisure, he's not on anybody's team. You can go get him for $1. You can get him for nothing. And I think he's got a chance as good as any of these guys as getting more saves. That's Jordan Leisure for the White Sox.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I also like Porter Hodge of the Cubs. He is the inevitable closer. Once again, Ryan Presley gave up a dinger to Eugenio Suarez and almost gave it away again yesterday.
He gave up 2 runs.
Yeah, it's not if, it's when with Porter Hodge. So if he's out there, Frank, I would go get him. He'd be the top of my hierarchy of all of those guys because he will be the closer for the Cubs at some point, and we could be looking at some point in April. So
absolutely.
Let's see. B says Newbar is sitting on waivers, but I really don't want to cut Joey Ortiz, Victor Robles, or Uceta. It's a NS. Is that a saves and hold league? Is that what that is? Is that what that stands for? Okay. Yeah. Or would you recommend swooping Newt over one of those guys? I'm going to be honest with you here, B. And this is I'll take this one first here, Britton. I'm not a Joey Ortiz believer. I never have been. I think he's a great defensive guy, and I think his game is a better in real life than fantasy. I would have 1,000,000% zero heartburn over cutting Joey Ortiz for Newbar, who's hitting leadoff. Joey Ortiz is batting 8th in that lineup. Lars Newbar, who's one of my guys, spoiler alert, for waiver wire pickups, hitting leadoff. He has 4 runs and 4 RBIs with the Cardinals lineup. I think he's a guy who's going to be a lock for that leadoff spot. We talk about it all the time on this show. If you're batting number 1 in front of guys like Alec Burleson or Nolan Arenado, that has some value. Brendan Donovan. So, but yeah, I'm not cutting Victor Robles. And if again, you said is obviously valuable because you play in a saves and holds league. But Britton, any strong thoughts here?
Yeah, very strong thoughts. If Lars Newbar is on your waiver wire, you have to pick him up. Yeah. It's not like a discretionary situation. You have to pick him up because he is batting leadoff. The Cardinals are good, believe it or not. Their catcher's eating tape. They're out of their minds over there. So get Lars Newbar, and dropping Joey Ortiz isn't that big a deal. It really is. Yeah. Drop him, and if you need a middle infielder or an infielder, go pick up Otto Lopez for the Miami Marlins. That dude is batting second, hitting for power. He had a great season last year. Now he's a full-time player for the Marlins, batting second. I really like – if Otto Lopez is on your waiver wire, you need to get him and Lars Newbar.
I would take him over Joey Ortiz as well. I'm not a Joey Ortiz guy. He was with Baltimore for a while, and when we got Corbin Burns for him, everyone was like, "Oh man." I don't think his game I don't think his game translates very well for fantasy. So that's just my take there. But thanks for the question.
You want the leadoff hitter for Cards, like Mike V says, 100%. And what about Brandon Donovan batting third?
Yeah, that's great.
Look and see if he's available too.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Fantasy Sports says, "Hi guys, which catcher do you like in a head-to-head points league? Moreno, Goodman, or Murphy on the IL?" Britton, I'll start with you.
In a points league, I'd go Goodman because the Rockies are coming home this weekend. They're playing the Athletics, who we like. We like both sides of this matchup, right? So give me the Colorado Rocky at home. Going to tee off on some Athletics pitchers like Last night I was watching the Mariners, who they scored 0 runs. Literally,
Shocker.
the Marlins, Seattle cannot score. It's crazy, but the Athletics can. So I think the Athletics are going to Colorado. I think you want all that from all those players.
Yeah, I would take Goodman as well there. Joe Chris, real quick, Britton, what's the bet for today?
I hate to say this, Joe, but I'm going to, because there's emotional me and objective gambling, Britton, which I've been hitting a rough patch lately. But Houston -2.5 versus the Vols is like the lock of the year. I know Tennessee blew out the Kentucky Wildcats. That was a fluke, man. This is going to be a beatdown. But if you want baseball, then I'll have to let me get back to that. But yeah, if you want to bet to win today, Houston -2.5.
There you go. You heard it there first. Henry Bodum wants to know, we just talked about him. Otto Lopez, okay to stash in a 12-man. Is it too early? This show has become a Sunday morning coffee routine for me now. Perfect. Thanks for being here, Henry. Man. We appreciate that. Yeah, we just got finished talking about Otto Lopez. I think he's a good stash, especially in a 12-man league. Now, keep in mind, too, they are playing Pittsburgh, and I know Pittsburgh has some talented starting pitching on that side, especially with Paul Skeens. But and same thing with the White Sox / Angels, because they were playing each other. So it's basically shit wrapped in tinfoil for both of those teams. So, but I do like Otto Lopez, especially where he's batting in the lineup. So it depends on who you're dropping, though, obviously, Henry. But yeah, we like Otto Lopez as a stash for sure.
Mustache. Get it? I don't know.
Love that. Love that. Always room for dad joke.
Yeah, well, I get it. But Otto Lopez looks good. He played well last year, too. This is a continuation of Otto Lopez playing well. That's why they bat him second. Every MLB team has talent, all 30 teams. And where do the best hitters go on each team? Second.
That's right.
It is what it is. It could change next week, but ride it while it's hot, baby. Because as Mike and I always say, carpe diem, which is French, eat your beignets.
Damn right. For those of you guys who are not very fluent in French, that's what that means.
Parlez-vous français?
Density says 10-team points league. Are y'all dropping Jake McCarthy? Seems like he lost his job to Alec Thomas. I don't know if he necessarily lost it. I do think it's a platoon situation there. And Alec Thomas was hurt last year. So that's probably why we saw Jake McCarthy get a little bit more playing time. But I think this is going to be a mix and match situation there for the Diamondbacks, especially in the 10-man league. I'm okay with moving on from Jake McCarthy. Thoughts there, Britton?
Drop him like a bad habit. See you later. In a 10-team league, under no circumstances do you need to mess with platoon guys. You know what I'm saying? Go grab Trevor Larnach, and I know he's a platoon guy too. But forget what I say. Just do it. But Trevor Larnach, or as we say down south, Larnach. He's the cleanup hitter for the Minnesota Twins. He even stole a base yesterday, which he got caught, but they didn't reverse it. But anyway, it counts. So. Right. I like Trevor Larnach for the Twins. Yeah, I would drop McCarthy for Larnach in a New York minute. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have either. I mean, it depends on what you need, right? Like they're both in platoon situations. Larnach is going to give you a little bit more in terms of the power. McCarthy probably a little bit more on the speed side. So, but yeah, in a 10-man league, I'm pretty sure you could find somebody out in the waiver wire like Wilyer Abreu. I would swap him out for him. And some of those other guys. So, but let us know who else is out there on the waiver wire there.
Lars Nootbaar.
Happy to help you out. Yeah, I would drop him for news. Lars Nootbaar in a heartbeat.
So, hey, Mike, real quick, talking about the Twins. They have a designated hitter whose nickname is Mickey Gasper. So
interesting.
Yeah, and he's like a 29-year-old rookie essentially, but I wanted to nickname him. I wanted him to do well just so that I could nickname him the Friendly Ghost.
Like Casper?
So let's all root for that. Let's root for Mickey Gasper, the Friendly Ghost for the Minnesota Twins, so we can hammer that joke till it's dead.
There you go. Here's an interesting one here, Britton. Frank wants to know, do we care to shed any light on the New York Yankees bats? I don't know if you saw it. It looks like a torpedo. Yeah. I don't really have strong thoughts on it here, Frank. Like if it's in like I know a lot of people are like, oh, they're cheating. Like if I don't know if they're blatantly going out and doing that if it was against the rules. I mean,
You
there's
don't need to
cameras
cheat against
everywhere.
Nestor Cortez throwing batting
No.
practice high in the zone.
If you
don't need
go
to.
back, if you got young kids who play baseball, go back and watch the because we watched that game almost from start to finish. The Yankees and the Brewers, extremely fun to watch. They scored 20 runs. Go watch. It's not just Nestor Cortez. Go watch all of their starting pitching, and then you go tell your son or your daughter, this is what you don't do when you face any type of hitter. You can't leave it in the letters. Usually that ball will find its way out into the cheap seats. So you got to
9 home runs, man.
Yeah, you got to keep the ball down. If I was Pat Murphy, I'd be pretty irate. But Frank, back to your question here. I don't really have strong thoughts on it either way. They're probably revolutionized whoever this fit. They hired some physics guy because I guess they looked at it last year, Britton, and everyone was kind of hitting it off the label on the handle. So they moved the weight of the bat down the barrel to be able to get more barrels. So any thoughts here on this?
I'm all for it. Do whatever you need to do. If it's within the rules, great, go for it. Yep. So no, I'm cool. And I'm also cool selfishly because I'm in 11 NFBC 50-round draft and hold leagues.
Mm-hmm.
And in one of those leagues, I drafted 4th and I drafted Aaron Judge, which I've never done before in any league for years. But I did in this league. I was like, oh, I want one share of Aaron Judge this year. Out of all those leagues, guess which one I'm in first place? The Aaron Judge League. He hit 3 home runs yesterday, 8 RBI. I mean, it's like, you know. And he almost had 4. Yeah, it banged off the wall.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to not see him hit 50 this year if he stays healthy. Dude's unreal. Every year, I think we overthink it with Aaron Judge. Me being one of them last year, this guy's probably going to be a top 2 pick next year, if not number 1. If he continues what he did yesterday. But
he's not going to steal bases, but that's okay.
No.
I don't want him to. Just hit home runs and let Pete Crow Armstrong steal you 40 or something.
That's right. Yeah, when you leave it in the NY on the jersey right there, when you leave the ball like that to Aaron Judge, good things tend to happen for Aaron Judge, and not good things happen for the other team. So
he looked like he wasn't even trying hard. You know, like he was just
any of their pitchers, they just could not keep the ball low. And again, catching tip 101. And I'm not a major league guy, but when you leave the glove up like this, especially on breaking pitches, also not a good thing. If I'm anything, I'm slamming the dirt, being like, bury a breaking ball here, get him to go fish. They were hanging balls left and right. You and I should have grabbed our bats. They were throwing bat in practice yesterday.
I've kind of felt bad for Nestor Cortez because I kind of like him. He's funny. He's got a cool mustache.
Yeah.
And then he comes back to New York where they essentially shoved him out the door, and then he gets lit up. I mean, but he's a professional. They're paid millions. I get it, but still, that's going to leave a mark, you know?
Yeah. B. Henny wants to know Jackson Jobe versus Seattle. What are we thinking? Just real quick, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. I don't sit starting pitchers. I don't care who they're facing. So if they're on my team, you play. It's an unpopular opinion, but I always do that unless it's the end of the week. And I know it's Sunday, but I think most leagues you're going to be playing into next week as well. But I don't sit starting pitching. So that's just my in a nutshell thoughts there. But Britton, any thoughts on here with Jackson Jobe?
I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Jobe's going to get 10 Ks, 0 earned runs, and his stat line is going to be almost as good as Kyle Freeland's was the other day. Right. You know, that ace.
Yeah.
So start anybody against Seattle. They can't score. They don't score. They can't score. It was the first inning. They made Oswaldo Bido look good. So it was the first. Yeah, I know I'm not saying that name right, but whatever. But so it was the first inning. Bases loaded, no out. Bases loaded, no out. Randy Rosarina promptly hits into a double play, and then the next hitter flies out. So they go from bases loaded, no outs to the second inning.
Yeah,
like they're like allergic to scoring runs. It's so strange.
With it, we talked about it on the opening day show too. Like the O's need pitching and the Mariners need hitting. We're a perfect trade partner. Like we got a ton of hitting prospects. Let's get a deal done, Seattle. If you're listening, And Mike Elias, if you're listening, get a deal done with Seattle. Like, go out and get like a George Kirby or Logan Gilbert. They're not going to trade those guys, but maybe a Bryce Miller. Yeah, maybe a Bryce Miller or a Brian Wu. Like, I'll take one of those guys.
I bet Wu gets a win today. That'd be my bet. I'll take the Mariners money line on Wu, whatever it is.
Yeah. Harry Brooks wants to know waiver wire starting pitchers. How do you rank them between Kikuchi, Boz, Smith-Shawver, Rasmussen, Leiter, Paddock, and Dustin May? Holy crow. I was trying to say cow and crow at the same time. That's a lot of pitchers to rank. I'm going to give you my top 3 here, Harry, because this is a lot of pitchers. I will go Leiter, number 1.
Yep, agreed.
I thought he looked good yesterday. Upper 90s fastball, looked great.
Yep.
I'll go Dustin May, number 2, just simply because of the fact that he plays for the Dodgers.
Me too.
And then the third, take your pick. I might go Kikuchi just from a case perspective, but Smith-Shawver I think goes today, so keep your eye on
one
him.
of those two, and I wouldn't mess with the rest.
Yeah, I'm not going.
Or Rasmussen, maybe. I don't know.
Is
he hurt? But I get him and Springs. I get all those guys confused. I'm like, is he hurt? Like, I don't know.
Well, we talked about it with Rays pitchers, right? Like, I'm not in on Rays pitchers for one this year, other than Shane McClanahan, who's hurt. But Boz and Rasmussen obviously can be playing in a humid home ballpark. Rasmussen is tricky for me because I don't know how many innings they're going to let him go. He looks like if you're playing a quality start league or even just a wins league, I don't know if how many times they're going to let him go past 5 innings. So
yeah, I would go Leiter in May, and then Kikuchi if you have to. That's
my bet. But watch Smith-Shawver today because he does pitch today. So keep an eye on him.
Can we talk about him for one quick second?
Yep.
He's got a lot of buzz. I went back and looked at his minor league track record. He's never had an ERA under 4 in any, not A, not high A, not nothing. Yeah. Like, so now I'm no expert or anything, but I mean, if you can't dominate in A ball, maybe I'm missing something. Like, and then he got lit up last year. I'm like, there's a lot of buzz around this guy that hasn't really done anything that I can see. Let me know your thoughts. I'm talking about AJ Smith-Shawver for the Braves.
I think he's the NL version of like Spencer Arrighetti. He had a couple double-digit strikeout games. He looked good in spring training. I get it. He plays for the Braves. Schwellenbach came out of nowhere last year. I think people are kind of relating that to some extent, but
he's getting that Schwellenbach love. That guy looks great, man.
Yes, he does.
And all this stuff backs it up too, and he's performing. That Spencer Schwellenbach is a great pick.
Robbie,
he's not on any of my teams, by the way.
Yeah, I have him in my home league. I was happy to see that. Robbie says, "Yo, I lost Nick Gonzalez in a deep league and Connor Norby in another. What are my best options?" So, Robbie, I assume you're talking about maybe like a second baseman or a middle infielder. But Britton, any guys that Robbie should be looking at?
Otto Lopez. We talked about Otto Lopez. Go run get him right now before it's too late. Before everybody catches up. He stole bases last year. He showed some pop. He's batting second for the Marlins. Go run get Otto Lopez. If he's gone, I really like Will Wagner for the Blue Jays. He's a good hitter. He'll DH. He'll now he's a lefty and they've only faced righties, so maybe he sits lefties, maybe not. But Will Wagner, I think, is a good hitter, and I think Will Wagner could be every bit as good as Connor Norby or Nick Gonzalez. But I'd rather have Otto Lopez for the Marlins ahead of all those players.
Yeah, I agree. There's a couple guys I'm looking at. Jake Cronenworth, who's got multi-position eligibility there. He's been batting in the middle of the lineup there. He went 2 for 3 on Friday and went 1 for 3 yesterday. Home run the other day as well. So he's only 29% rostered right now. So I think the guy you could probably go out and grab. Jonathan Aranda of the Rays looks good so far. And then I know a lot of people were the Michael Garcia. I know somebody on our show during Bozo Fest had said they liked him. He also went with a dong yesterday. So I like him from a stolen base perspective. I probably like Michael Garcia the best if he sees consistent playing time. But it's just my thoughts on it.
There's a guy named Jordan Westbrook that's pretty good too.
Check to see if he's out there.
Check to see if he's available. If he is, snatch it.
Skywalker says, how do you rank these outfielders in the head-to-head points leagues? PCA, Rosarena, Lane Thomas, Victor Robles, and Friedel. Man, you guys are putting us through spaces here. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll go I'll go
The
PCA
force is
number
strong
1.
with this listener.
Yeah, I'll go PCA number 1. I will go a Rosarena number 2. Actually, the way you have them ranked is how I would rank them.
I'd go Friedel number 1.
Why do you like Friedel?
Because I think he's going to bat leadoff for the Reds for most of the year. But he gets injured a lot. You know, we've been talking about Friedel. I wrote a love letter once to him before the judge told me to stop. But so TJ Friedel I like a lot. Pete Crow Armstrong. So I'd go Friedel, PCA, Robles, Thomas, and then Randy Rosarena. Like, I'm done with Randy Rosarena. I just don't care. Like, hitting in Seattle sucks. So I'll take Friedel ahead of all those guys. I think Robles. You know, Cal Raleigh has more stolen bases than Victor Robles. That's a true story.
That hurts my head.
Yeah.
I would move a Rosarena and Lane Thomas around here, Skywalker, and that would be how I would rank them. I like Friedel, but I don't know how many times they're going to let him hit against lefties. He's only 39% rostered. Unless he's going to be the staple in there all year long when everybody gets healthy. I have concerns with that. But it's not David Bell anymore. It is Tito Francona. So maybe that changes. But yeah, I appreciate the question there, Skywalker. Let's see. All right, this is a good time to get into some thoughts here because it looks like these guys are just chatting in the live chat. We will get to all your all's questions. Keep it going, but Britton, let's dive into our guys that we're looking to add. I'll start. We already talked about Lars Nootbaar. Two other guys I want to mention: Spencer Torkelson of Govier's Bozo Tigers. He's only 29% rostered. He's 4 for 9 so far in the season. 3 runs scored, a home run, and a stolen base. He walked 3 times on opening day. He gets Seattle next, which is obviously a tougher matchup from the pitching department. But people forget Torkelson does have 30 homer pop. He's already showed it. Didn't do it last year, but the year before he did. So if this is the year that he turns it around and gets back into the good graces of fantasy people, I like Spencer Torkelson as an ad. And then Kybert Ruiz of the Washington Nationals, 4 for 7 so far with 2 home runs and 3 RBIs. Gets Toronto next week. He's only 20% rostered in Yahoo leagues. I think that's another guy that you can go grab, a popular sleeper pick amongst the Pallazzo crew.
Yep.
But my should be owned category, we already talked about Christian Campbell, Soderstrom, Abreu. These guys are all under 50% or under 60% rostered. But if these 3 guys are available, I would prioritize all 3 of them over the 3 that I just mentioned.
Yeah, I wish I could remember to say that at every beginning show. Like, we've already talked about those guys, and we want to keep each show new and fresh, so we're not just running over the same old ground with Wheeler Abreu and Tyler Soderstrom and all that. But those guys we all want, like, badly, like real bad. But we already talked about them, so we're talking about some other guys. I like Christopher Morel for the Tampa Bay Rays. Josh Lowe got hurt. He has a grade 2 oblique strain. He's going to be gone for half the year, if not longer. So Christopher Morel is second base eligible, third base eligible, and now he's going to be outfield eligible because he's going to play in the left field every single day. And he had 2 walks yesterday. Now, why is that? He went 2 for 2 with 2 walks. Now, why is that significant? Because his plate discipline is terrible.
Terrible.
It's been terrible. He's a free swinger, but he's also young and talented, and he plays for the Rays. They have great organization, great coaches. 2 walks yesterday. Just grab him. I'm going to grab him anywhere I can get him, because if he changes his plate discipline, and now he walks and he hits, he's going to hit home runs. He's always been a power hitter. I think he hit 27 home runs one year for the Cubs anyway. But he's a young guy. He's going to bat in the middle of the lineup every single day with Josh Lowe gone, and they're going to play in Florida. So grab if Christopher Morel is available, grab him. Otto Lopez, we talked about. Will Wagner. And if Lars Nootbaar is available, I think he's probably my number 1 ad overall of all the hitters. And as much as I love Otto Lopez, I might have to I've been thinking about getting a tattoo, Mike V. It might be Otto Lopez's head. What do you think? Is that a great idea?
I think you might want to check with your wife before doing that. But that would be my number 1 piece of advice.
Is that weird? Oh, okay. No, it's not. Okay.
It's not weird at all.
No, see, I didn't think so.
No, if you play in an OBP format too, Lars Nootbaar is also goes to the top of that list because I think he's more valuable in an OBP league. But he's hitting leadoff. He's going to be scoring runs. Like we talk about it on the show all the time, and you'll probably hear us mention it multiple times throughout the year. If you hit 1, 2, or 3 in any lineup, that usually means fantasy gold, unless it's Seattle. Then it sucks.
3 is a magic number, as we used to say. But hey, let me ask you a question. Uncle Ted brings this up in the chat. Cameron Misner is the Tampa Bay Ray, right? Or that hit the walk-off home run the other day. I looked him up in my book. Like the thing, he's not even in there for the minor leagues, and it has like hundreds of minor leaguers. But I looked him up, and he has a pretty good track record of power and speed. A little, he's like 16-30, 17-25, kind of one of those. But do you have any interest in Cameron with the K, Misner?
I don't. I know too. Uncle Ted's very wants to be ahead of the game with some of these guys. I just don't think the playing time is going to be there for him consistently. I know Josh Lowe got hurt, but Christopher Morel's still there. There's a ton of dudes that they have. They love to mix and match. It's not going to be consistent playing time enough for me to roster him. I know he hit the walk-off home run. There's a reason why he's not in the starting lineup to begin with. So I don't really have much interest unless I'm playing in a super, super, super deep league. And I'm talking like 15 team or deeper. So, but yeah.
One other name I wanted to throw at you real quick, see what you thought. This is completely under the radar, but did you watch Joe Adele yesterday? He was running to first.
I did.
And he pulled the old, sniper shot in the back hiney. Mm-hmm. And so they said it's like a hip contusion or something. I don't know, but they released Mickey Moniak. So they're already thin in outfield. Now you got Odell hurt. What do you think about Matthew Lugo? Are you familiar with him at all? Somebody on the broadcast mentioned it. And so I looked him up. And he was like one of the last players the Angels optioned to the minor leagues before opening. It was they sent him back down like on the 26th or something. So he was one of their last cuts. I looked him up, power speed, Matthew Lugo for the Angels. If Joe Adele goes on the IL, they're going to have to bring somebody up for depth at least. And Matthew Lugo kind of has a little bit of a prospect buzz. So anyway, just keep that on your radar. Don't do anything about it. But, I just mentioned that because I was watching the game and I saw Adele get hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe a guy to add to the watch list for sure. Ink to Audio says he just made a trade in his Dynasty League. He traded Christian Campbell and Sasaki for Mookie Betts and Christopher Sanchez. Tell me I'm going to be okay. You're going to be okay. Sasaki did not look good yesterday. I'm not overreacting. I guess I kind of am. I'm not reacting to just 2 starts. I think
I prefer the Betts side.
So do I. But I love Christian Campbell. Hit a home run yesterday. He's one of my favorite players.
It's a ball hard too, man.
He does.
He smacked the snot out of that thing. So Christian Campbell's going to have a good career, but Mookie Betts is Mookie Betts.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are very, very, very buzzy with Christopher Sanchez. I still
hate him.
I do. I don't have a lot of on the road. I don't like him. At home, I love him. On the road, it's going to remain to be seen.
Who do you hate more, Mason Wynn or Christopher Sanchez?
Mason Wynn, and it's not close. It's not close. So don't get me started on Mason Wynn. I don't know where people got the love from. I think honestly, now you open this can of worms.
There we go.
People were buzzing because he stole 40 bases, and in one of my home leagues, I asked because he got cut the other day. I said, without mentioning 40 stolen bases, what about Mason Wynn last year did you like? And if I brought up the advanced metrics, he doesn't hit the ball hard. And somebody brought up, Mike, he makes good contact. He makes good weak contact, which doesn't play. So
he's good defensively. That's why he's on the team.
He is. You're right.
He made a great play yesterday too.
Yeah, he did. I think he's the same thing, better in real life than he is in fantasy. So, all right. Frank says, these are my RPs in NFBC: Chris Martin, AJ Puck, Orion Kickering, Jeremiah Estrada, Taylor Rogers, Brian Abreu, and Alex Vesa. Which ones to keep and drop? Well, kind of hard to answer here, Frank. How many these guys are you looking to keep, first off? And second of all, who are you dropping them for? I hate to be the situational type dude, but at the same time too, I think you got to keep AJ Puck, I think you got to keep Chris Martin, Kierkering, Estrada. For me, I love Brian Abreu. If you're playing a holds league, you got to keep. I don't know, Britton. What do you think here?
I'm keeping Chris Martin. I'm keeping AJ Puck. No ifs, ands, or buts. Those two are staying.
Yeah.
I would like to keep Jeremiah Estrada, and I think you need to keep Alex Vesia because you get the save. So why not keep him one more week and bank the save? You can always cut him later. I assume this in a draft and hold league, obviously, if you're dropping him. But Taylor Rogers, Brian Abreu, I don't really care about those guys. So I 100% keep Martin, 100% keep Puck, and I'd like to keep Estrada.
Those are my top three as well. But
yeah,
if this is
then the rest you can drop.
Yeah, if this is a holds league, Abreu led the league in holds, I believe, last year. So something to keep in mind. But if this is just a saves only league here, Frank, I agree with Britton, Martin, Puck, and Estrada.
Yeah.
Real quick, I wanted to bring this up here too because Joe says the winds were 30 mile per hour out to center field on that Yanks game. You're right, Joe. The weather played a factor, but it's also really, really, really tough to do. Keep the ball in the ballpark when you leave it right here. Everything was up, nothing was down. It's not like these guys were golfing them out. I mean, they were literally hanging breaking balls and fastballs right down the pipe. So I don't care if it was 50 miles an hour. Some of these balls were flying out into the upper deck, especially the judge's grand slam. So I think wind was irrelevant, honestly, just because of where they were leaving the ball at.
It was a whole lot of things, man. Everybody hit a home run. Anthony Volpe hit a home run.
Yeah. Apo Taco, I believe, too. I think he went the other way.
9 home runs, Mike V. 9.
It's really hard to be successful when you leave the ball up above the belt.
Did you have any Nestor Cortez in any of your leagues?
Hell no.
I'm in a lot of draft and hold leagues, and I went back and looked because I'm like, you make a lot of picks in a 50-round thing. Mm-hmm. I was like, shoo, 0.0 Nestor Cortez shares.
Right. All right, so another couple quick things. The live chat is pumping here. Thank you guys very much. I want to go over our pitching pickups real quick, Britton. I don't know if you have any. Again, my pickups are all going to be around 60% or less in Yahoo leagues, and I try to keep it below 50 because some of these guys you're probably going to be able to find a lot easier.
Do we have to mention like Mackenzie Gore? Like, is that too obvious? I mean, sometimes I don't. I'm not sure.
He should be owned.
Bother with.
Yeah, he should be owned. From a K perspective, I like Mackenzie Gore, but he should be owned. So he'd be the top of my list here. My top 3 pitchers to target, SPs at least, are Jeffrey Springs of the A's. Look great. I know that he faced the Mariners, which we've hammered that point all show. 6 innings pitched with 9 Ks. He's worth a speculative ad. He is Jeffrey Springs. We saw some flashes of brilliance when he was with Tampa. Gets the Cubs next week. Jesus Luzardo was a guy that 53% owned, 11 Ks against Washington. Probably would sit. I know I said I don't sit guys, but I would probably sit this one against the Dodgers next week. His next start. Jack Leiter, 45%. Again, buzzworthy prospect. Fastball was up in the upper 90s yesterday. He gets a very good Boston. He faced a very good Boston team. Only gave up 1 earned run. So those are my 3 pitching targets to target off the waiver wire. Britton, you got any?
Kyle Freeland.
Cy Young?
The number 1 fantasy pitcher of the week. I'm just kidding. No, I agree with you. If somehow Jose Suriano for the A's is available, go pick him up. Eric Fetty looked pretty good. He's not going to strike people out, but he's going to, if you want innings pitched and a shot at a win, Eric Fetty with his 1.5 ERA, he's not going to get you a lot of strikeouts, but he's pitching well. And for whatever reason, the Cards are playing well, the Cardinals. So Eric Fetty, Jose Suriano is awesome. Spencer Arringhetti, if he's still available somehow. Obviously, he's very talented, very good. But other than that, everybody else, everybody you said, I agree with. I also threw in, Sean Burke.
Yeah,
just for some crazy business. If you just want to get nuts. You just want to get nuts with it, then Sean Burke looked good for the Chicago White Sox if you got a deep bench.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the closers, just to hammer home again, we talked about Halverson, Slayton, Alvarado, and then we talked about it too. I'm out on the Cincinnati closers unless Santillan gets it. He's really
what a cluster that is. What a mess.
A couple 2-start SP streams because I did put some stuff together, so I wanted to get through this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I thought they were on here. I only had 2. I looked at the slate yesterday, Britton, this morning, and there wasn't a whole lot of guys that I liked from a 2-start SP stream that aren't already owned. David Peterson gets Miami and Toronto next week. Emerson Hancock of the Seattle Mariners is going to get a 2-start week against Detroit and San Francisco. And then Bowden Francis against Washington and the Mets. Those are my top 3 at 2-start SP streams.
Yeah, mine too. David Peterson is number 1 for me.
Yep.
He had a great season last year. Nobody talked about it.
Yep.
He's in the starting rotation. The Mets are kind of starting slow. Like, I think Francisco Lindor doesn't have a hit yet, right? I don't know.
Nope. 0 for 10.
Well, yeah, awesome. Oh, here's another thing too. I don't know about you, but I am so happy I have 0.0 Rafael Devers on any of my teams.
Same.
What's going on with him? It's like shoulders injured. He's mad that he's DA. Just everything is a problem right there. He looks bad. He's swinging outside the zone. He
can't catch up with that upper fastball either. If you watched a lot of his at bats, he's getting targeted. He's got a lot of stuff working in his swing, a lot of stuff moving. It's really hard for him to catch up. And he showed it last year too. He can't catch up to the fastball that's in the letters. So I stood away from him simply off the fact of the shoulder aspect of it. Both of his, he's got 2 bad shoulders. He got a late start to spring training. They did bring this up in the broadcast, which I thought was interesting. He's not nearly as bad as he was last year, but he did start really slow. I think he was like 4 for 19 to start the year with a lot of strikeouts. And then he obviously still picked it back up. So I'm not ready to push the panic button on him yet, but he does look bad. He's striking out a lot.
Yeah, and I obviously I'm under no circumstances are we dropping Rafael Devers. I understand all that. I just like to vent because just watching him play, I literally said to myself, what's wrong with this guy? Like, he kind of gives me like Franmil Reyes vibes, like Franmil Reyes hit 40 home runs like 2 years in a row, and then just disappeared with his bad attitude somewhere, never to be seen or heard from again.
Mm-hmm.
That was weird.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I also have 0 shares of him. Somebody offered me him in a trade in my home league and before the season started, and I quickly declined that shit. So, let's see. B wants to know what's a realistic projection for Jackson Holiday this year.
That's a good question.
We've talked enough about him on this show already, but I'm going to go on record of saying this, and I have already. But in case you're new here, or at least new to my take, Jackson Holiday is a better in real life player than he is fantasy, in my opinion. I think he could give you a 260 batting average with 10 to 15 home runs, 50 to 60 RBIs, and a handful of stolen bases. So that's probably low compared to what everybody else gets on him, but he hits 8th in that lineup. And unless he actually starts showing consistent contact, I think he's going to stay there for quite some time. And they have better options that can bat in that 1 and 2 hole. But that's just my projection on him. What do you think, Britton?
Same. I agree with you. I'm lower on Holiday than you are.
Ooh.
And so I'm taking the under on all his projections. I just think it's just going to take some time. And like you said, batting at the bottom of the order, that limits plate appearances, which limits all your county stats. So
exactly. JP Gale, we talked about Wilyer Abreu and Lars Nootbaar on the show already, Britton, but if you had a preference between the two, who are you targeting?
Lars Nootbaar with from a country mile, which is longer than a regular mile. Because people like me from the country don't understand distance and measurements. So country miles are longer, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Lars Nootbaar looks good. And not only is he playing well, but for some reason the Cardinals are playing well. And Lars Nootbaar also made a beautiful catch in the outfield yesterday. So he's doing it defensively. And I do kind of subscribe to the theory, if you're playing well, out in the field, it kind of helps your offense too, just because everything about you, like mentally, all of that stuff, it's all working. And it gives you confidence. So I'm all about some Lars Nootbaar. But plus, Wilyer Abreu he hit 2 home runs. That's great, but he's still a platoon bat. Rob Rothsnyder is going to eat into some of his playing time. They just do it. I don't know why. I'm not saying it's right, but that's what they do. So give me Lars Nootbaar. What do you think?
Agreed, for all the reasons that you had mentioned, especially for an OPS league. I get maybe a slight lean towards Abreu if he was playing regular, but there are going to be some starts where he's going to be platooning with Ref Snyder, but Nootbaar is going to be in the lineup almost every day and bat lead off. So give me Nootbaar there.
His name's Lars Nootbaar.
Yeah.
I mean, that's easy. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Easy choice.
Yeah. No doubt.
What's up, Eddie, the sheriff?
There he
Eddie
is.
Buzz says, I'm in an 18-team league, 486 players deep. Holy cow. Tyro Estrada is a free agent, was terrible last year, but decent 2 or 3 years ago in San Francisco, but now in Colorado. Will be back in June. Is he worth the wait? I think in a deeper league, yeah. I mean, if you're able to, if you're able to stash him in an IL slot and pick somebody else up, he said there's not much left on the waiver wire. I would, if that's the case, Eddie, I would definitely hold him in hopes that he's back in early June and not late.
Yeah, I'd hold him too. 18 team, like you can't let him go because when he does come back, and he will come back, he's going to play every day. So 18 team league, you keep him, I think.
Nick Kurtz and Bryce Eldridge ETA, in your opinion? I doubt we see Bryce Eldridge this year. If it is, it's going to be in September. He's only played in a handful of minor league games. The same thing we talked about with Caglione of Kansas City. His experience down in the minors he's only. I mean, I know some guys come up, right out of the draft, and kind of like Nolan Shanwell did, but I imagine Bryce Eldridge is going to be down in the minors at least until September to get some seasoning. Nick Kurtz, same thing. I could see maybe a late summer.
Yeah, the A's are real conservative on bringing up their prospects, and they got some good ones. Although Max Muncy, they kind of had to because they needed a shortstop. But Nick Kurtz. Have you seen Nick Kurtz? He is huge.
He's a big boy.
He is a large. Did you ever watch that Game of Thrones HBO? He's the mountain. That's Nick Kurtz. But Nick Kurtz, late mail, hand him a sword, and he'll do some really bad things to all your enemies. But Nick Kurtz, he's really talented. But I don't know you're going to see either one of these guys this year. I doubt it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see, getting into some more of these questions here. You guys are all chatting in here, which is great. Thank you guys for engaging. I appreciate that. Eddie wants to know Chandler Simpson ETA with Josh Lowe, and they got some guys already up on the 40 man. Same thing.
They brought up Mangrum instead of him, Jake Mangrum instead of Chandler Simpson. So it's going to take another injury. I don't think we see Chandler Simpson up until it's past Super 2. So
exactly. Yep. Joe's
they do that. The Rays 100% do that manipulation stuff because they have to. They're not the Yankees. Nope. So I don't think you're going to see Chandler Simpson come up before Super 2, barring injury.
They did it with Caminero last year. He didn't come up until September, and everyone was calling for him in May.
If you go to the Tampa Bay Rays front office, their corporate office, it's in the book.
Yep.
We manipulate time on all these guys. It's in their philosophy.
Yeah. Not to keep hammering Eddie here, but he wants to know our thoughts on Andrew Painter. Is he legit? 100%. He's a top 10 prospect in all of baseball.
Number one. Number
one
starting pitcher prospect in baseball. Yeah. Not Job. Job's good, but Painter is number one by a country mile.
Yeah. I think he'll be
with honey and biscuits and fried chicken.
Yeah. Ooh, now you're singing my song here, man. Let's see here. Getting through some more of these questions. Thank you guys very much. If you guys didn't know, we do have super chats available. If you guys want to super chat us, that'd be great. We'd greatly appreciate it. If not, keep throwing them in here. A lot to get through. Brandon Lau just homered, your boy. There you go, Britton. 2-run dinger for Mr. Brandon Lau.
Tell you what, baby, we're going to be knocking on wood because he can literally get injured any second, and we can say, well, that could be any player. Well, yeah, it could be, but it's a lot more likely with Brandon Lau. So we're just going to kind of keep mum's the word. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. We both, I believe, have a lot of shares of Brandon Lau. I do in my home league and a couple other leagues. I'm very happy about that. So glad to see him get on the board there with his first of the year. Britton, we got about 5 minutes left. Just struck the clock at 1:55 Eastern. Any thoughts, the closing thoughts that you wanted to leave us with? Anybody else that you wanted to talk about for the viewers?
No, we did it all, man. I love Lars Nootbaar is a great pick. Otto Lopez for the Marlins. Christopher Morel. is another good one. Obviously, if you got Spencer Torkelson, you've got Willie or Abreu, like the Tyler Soderstrom. We've talked about all those guys, but yeah, no, I think we've nailed it, man. I'm happy to be back. Been looking forward to this. I even made some notes. I was like, all right, got to get ready. Mike V and I are going to talk all kinds of crazy shit.
That's right.
I was like, I even wrote down Jordan Leisure.
That's right, man.
Hey.
We try to give you guys some guys that you're probably not going to find in some other shows. Obviously, we cater to every type of league size. Doesn't matter if you're playing an 8-man, 10-man, 12-man, or 20-man. And or woman, I apologize. But if it's something that you're interested in, you want to check out our show, and you were check this out for the first time, please come back next Sunday as well. We like to have some fun here. We like to get to everybody's questions. That kind of thing. Britton, one thing I wanted to bring up for everybody on here, because I got this question a lot since Thursday. Now, mind you, we're only 3-4 games into the season. And especially with some of the guys that you drafted within the top 200. Okay. I want to go on record of saying this. Please, 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 please be patient with some of your guys, right? Lindor is not playing well. Devers is not playing well. Olsen, Alonso. Yes, we would love it for everybody to come out and hit dingers and steal bases and go nuts to start the season. But in reality, that's not how it works. That's a pipe dream. So be patient with your guys. Trust your team. Trust your draft. Dave Funnel tweeted about this the other day too, so I wanted to piggyback off that. Be patient. That's how leagues are lost/won. You can't win it in one day, but you can certainly lose it by dropping some of your studs early on for some of these flavor of the weeks. So. Thank you. Not so silent majority. I appreciate that. He says great advice. Even your starting pitchers, right? Be patient. It's going to take some time for some of these guys to get a feel. Britton, do you have anything to piggyback off or anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I totally agree. Like take Blake Snell, for instance. He had a terrible first 6 games, but he turned it around. Those players turn it around. So patience, like Guns N' Roses. We all just need a little patience. Just be patient with those players, and but turn and burn your bench too. Like I've got Tyler Rogers on my bench that I'm dropping him like a bad habit, and I'm going to go pick up, Jose Alvarado but that's mainly specific to relievers. Like your position player and your starting pitchers, just leave that alone. Let that go for a couple months. Other than injuries, obviously, but.
Absolutely. One other thing I wanted to shout out to, appreciate Govier for being in the live chat. He's been answering some of the questions, as well as Uncle Ted and some of the other guys with helping out with some of the questions or thoughts. So somebody had Mike Virginia is a wizard. I wouldn't say that. Somebody had asked a question in terms of our shows and when we do them. I think it was Eddie. Friday nights, Eddie, we try to get on around 7 p.m. Eastern. This show is always going to be 1 p.m. Eastern, so make sure you guys check us out for there. And then the Monday show with Robbie and Ben, I believe Gove put in there that it's going to be 9 p.m. I believe that's when the show starts, or 7 p.m. Sorry. Nope, that was Friday's show. I think it's 9 p.m. for tomorrow's show with Robbie and Ben. But if Robbie, you're still in here, please let me know. All right. Well, we're coming up on time here, Britton. For everybody watching, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Great questions.
Appreciate y'all in the chat. Thank you for watching. Michael Govier, we love you. We're wishing for you, hoping for the best. But everybody have a great day. And hey, if you're flipping the channels and you happen to see some orange, shout out Volunteers. Let's go, baby.
Good old Rocky Top. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.